Hello there and welcome to the video. So I thought I'd make a quick video. Today I was doing commentary on the Icelandic Championship in my own language, Icelandic. And this was kind of the game of the day. The two top seeds, Chess Grandmaster with white and Gretarsson, Grandmaster with black. And we're going to look at it from the black side because Hjörvar won this game, very nice game. And yeah, we're going to see what happened. It was a t4 opening. Hjörvar went for e6. I think he likes to play the Nimso, but after knight f3, you have to go for the Boko or the Queen's Indian. He went for the Queen's Indian. g3, bishop a6. Yeah, this kind of modern move where you attack the pawn and you try to make a concession out of white, like queen here. Then the bishop often goes back, and it's more difficult to play d5 after black plays c5. So it's a good move. d5, bishop d2. Knight b to d7. White took on d5. We have castles. The bishop comes out. Very natural development for black. It's kind of like a collie with colors reversed. Now the bishop comes to b2. Rook to e8. a3, and black is very solid here with c6. Rook to e1. And now the knight jumps into e4. So a very normal position. Usually the bishop would be here in this setup, but it's not bad on a6, but I guess black thought it was better, so he put it on b7. This pawn is a little bit vulnerable in this setup, and once you try to go for c5, you want to have this pawn protected. So bishop b7. Figuring at some stage black wants to go c5, white went for b4. But black immediately undermined it. He played a5. White took it, and rook takes. He wants to keep the pawn structure intact. So takes and pawn takes. And I thought this was interesting. He kind of makes this square on d5 for his pieces. So knight d2, attacking the pawn. Knight f6, protecting it. And now knight c4. So white is going to get the bishop here. He's going to get this dark squared bishop. And it looks like it could be troublesome. But now rook d5. An educated move. Staying in this pocket so he can't play d5 to open up for this bishop. And after you take, I take. If white had not taken the bishop, then black can probably at some stage, start using the rook for an attack on the king side, as will happen in the game. So here, white played queen b3. And now black went for the Alphazero type, h5. So the idea of this is to soften up the king side. So whenever you play this, it's much better for black to, trade the h pawns. Because once they get traded, a move like e3, for instance, becomes problematic. And this is a bit of a provocation. In this case though, white can't take on b6 because rook b5, and in fact the queen is lost after this. We can also just win a bishop, but winning the queen is better. So because of rook b5, white plays a4, preventing rook b5. But here comes the second provocation. You can take my pawn. Black played h4. If you want this pawn, go ahead. Hannes chickened out for one more move, bishop a3 and queen d7. And still he chickened out. But let's have a look. If he takes the pawn, then this move e3 becomes super powerful. And now we see why it was important to soften up the g3 pawn, because now everything falls apart. For instance, if you take the rook, I give a check, I soften you up, and then I take your king, knight g4, knight e3. Queen takes d5. Finally we take the bishop, and now this threat is too difficult to deal with. This queen here, knight g4 is coming, take on e2. Even though we're done the exchange, it's overwhelming. It's game over. So Hannes did not want to take the pawn on b6. Instead he played bishop a3, queen d7, and now he gets another chance. But it's still the same. If you take, I play e3. It's not as strong as in the previous example, but it's still very good for black. So white decided, okay, e3 is bad for me, so I'll prevent e3. On with the provocation. You can take this pawn. I'm going to set up for an attack. Finally he took it. And now, having used a lot of his time, white was in time trouble. And now black's pieces just fling in. And look at the power of this Alphazero push here. Knight d5, first a strong square for the knight. And then piece activity, the rook's into the game. Queen e2, doubling the rooks. And from here it just seems to unravel, and white doesn't have a chance. We're threatening to open up the h file, take, and maybe even rook h1, queen h3 might be on the cards in some positions, maybe. There could be resources over here. Could even be the pattern we looked at, at some stage, queen f5, bishop a6 takes, queen f3. The pattern we just looked at. So white doesn't want to open the h file. There's g4. So rook g5, attacking the pawn, protecting it. f5, ripping open the position. f4, trying to build some kind of fortress, get the bishop here. But no, we take and double the rooks. We want to sacrifice and just get to this king. King to the corner. Rook g4 is probably strong. But c5, he opened up for this bishop. Last piece introduced to the party. e4, try to close things up. Many moves here. Knight f6 is very strong, but he just went for the throat. Rook takes g4. I really like black's play in this game. Bishop takes d4, rook takes d4. We sacrifice the exchange. You can take a piece, but it's not going to be good for you. You cannot interpose, and king here, rook here, game over. So you can't take the piece. White went rook b1, intending at some stage maybe to sacrifice back. But there's simply no time. A very cheeky move, rook g5. If you sacrifice, I enter here, queen h3, queen interposes, queen f3, game over. And I take on g2, checkmate. So he tried to block that, but here queen g4 was absolutely crossing. Queen f3 is a threat. You can't use the rook because queen takes e4. But he played rook g3, threatening this. Still very strong. Queen g4, and now this threat again. And if this rook move, then this. So rook g1, queen takes e4. And it's basically more or less game over here. White can safely resign. He gave one more check and played rook e8. So if you take, then at least I can take on h4 and I'm back in the game and I'm actually winning. But the simple maneuver coming up wins the game. I'd like to mention that rook b2, trying to protect, leads to a very nice variation. This is a strong move, attacking the queen. And in fact, well, the queen can't even go away. You have to give it up, but we don't take it. We give mate. Look at these pins. Both pieces are pinned. They can't take the knight, so you have to go here and queen to e1. Checkmate. But I didn't play rook b2. A very nice mate, by the way. Should have left it a little bit longer, right? So it's a very nice mate. So in this position, instead of rook b2, he played rook e8, but resigned after queen to b1. Check. Because, well, check. Rook here. The queen is coming back here, and everything is lost. Game over. So an excellent game by Hjörvar, who is trying to win his first championship. He's the top seed, but has never won the championship. Very recently, he won a very strong tournament in Iceland, a knockout tournament, and he secured his place in the FIDE World Cup. So he's in top form, and well, judging by this game, he might be the favorite to take the championship this time around. But only time will tell. Tomorrow, well, the Icelandic Championship continues, but it's the candidates again, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.